Alright YouTubers, Jason here, Biker Bytes, how you all doing? Saturday morning, it stopped raining, bloody ripper. Alright, the DR is sat there looking real pretty and we've got some goodies to put on. So these had just arrived the other day from Adventure Bike Australia. So we've got some side racks, lower foot pegs and a petcock for the right hand side. But what I am going to do is take off this front wheel and get the tire replaced with one to match the Motors Adventure that I have on the back that's wearing pretty well. This is the what is it, the MT21, and as you can see after the trip, it might be a bit, it's sun in your eyes there. I don't know whether you can see from this angle, but every other block has worn down at an angle. And so what's happening is when I'm riding, well, I noticed this when I took the bike back from Brisbane Motorcycles, is when I was riding it, the front wheel was sort of, you know, what's the word? I don't know, not very good with words, but it was like lumpy because of the way the tire had worn. So that's not good, not conducive for a smooth ride. So get that replaced. I'm gonna have to take it off, take it down to Adventure Moto down in Brisbane, get it replaced, and put on these farkles. That's the neighbour singing. Oh yeah. Just noticed this, viewers. So I haven't actually ridden this bike except for bringing it back from around the corner at Brisbane City Motorcycles, but look at this. Look at this. Only two have been done up. The other two are just finger tight. My goodness, that is very bad indeed. Doesn't give you much confidence in the quality of their work, does it? All right, I'll continue on. I just thought I'd point that out. Okay, so I've loosened all, well, I was going to say 4, but I'm going to say 2 because these weren't even tightened up. So yeah, I'm glad I'm actually changing this tire, because otherwise I wouldn't have noticed that. You'd just assume that they put the bike back together correctly. So now I'm just going to unscrew this, and then we'll be able to take the front axle out and the wheel should drop forward. There we go. That's for this side. Alrighty, that's the wheel off, so it's down to Adventure Moto. Wow, that's disappointing, viewer. They didn't have the Motors Adventure in the front tire, so I wasn't going to buy an alternative. What I might do is just swap out both tires, and I'm thinking about going with Shinko. E80 something or other, is that right? I don't know, because I can't remember, but yeah, you know, those blocky ones, I might try those. So no new front tire for me today, but maybe a new set next week. I have to look. Anyway, I'm going to put the front wheel back on correctly and then put on these little bits and pieces that came in the post from Adventure Bike Australia. Right, wheel is back on. So a couple of things I learned was put this on first with the wheel out here so it can slide in, because you won't get that in otherwise, as far as I could see. Don't tighten these bolts up until you've tightened this up, and also Don't tighten this up when the bike is resting on the ground. Have it in the air so the wheel is free moving. Tighten this up and then tighten these up, obviously doing opposite sides as you go to nut it down, and then you should be good. Alrighty, time for these, and then the JNS lowered foot pegs. Let's get going. Right, there's the first one on. Looks pretty good. Contour matches that of the side panel, so that's quite nice. That's nicely ergonomic. No, what's the word? I don't know. What I did do was I used the bolts provided with the kit, but for here I used a longer bolt and then spaced it out with a washer, purely because I don't think with this on the bolt provided had enough depth with this on as well to get a good hold. So I got a slightly longer bolt and a washer, and that washer just brings this part out so it's not hitting against this weld. I just noticed this bolt actually is going to make contact with the exhaust, so as before I'm going to just trim a little bit off the end. While is always the case, there's always one side that doesn't quite line up. So there's a bit of play here to give you a bit more room, but not quite enough. Time to put my thinking cap on. Alright viewers, well, you know when things are going well, and that's when you have to bring the drill out just in order to screw in a few bolts. So what I'm going to do, I've got a choice really. I could extend the width or the length of these two, or the width of this one. So I can, if I just drill out a little bit here, I can then move that down like that, or up, better check, and then hopefully that should fit. Well viewers, after much drilling, we're there, pretty much. You really shouldn't have to go to these lengths when you buy expensive products. They should just fit. Happens every time. Alright viewer, let's see how much pain we can get into replacing these foot pegs with some JNS lowering mounts, keeping the stock peg. I'll give you a bunch of bolts. What I've heard is it could be too long. We'll find out. So 2 of these JNS lowering foot mounts, foot peg mounts, again from Adventure Bike Australia. I think they cost me $169. Alright, so we've got a 14mm socket to whip these thingies off. Let's go. See, lefty, righty, righty, tighty bullshit. There we go. Good old Loctite. Okay, so we're on, good and sturdy. Now we've got to take the foot peg off the existing mount. These are quite heavy. So I guess we have to undo this pin here, pull that out, and then mount it in a similar fashion. Alright, give it a bit of a clean. Just put the pin back. Yes, cool. Let's do the other one on the brake side. All right, so viewers, the first thing I'm going to point out is there is no pin on this side, and this is the side that Brisbane Motorcycles replaced the foot peg on, and they didn't put back the pin in this. How shabby is that? Brisbane Motorcycles, you are crap. Your mechanics. I mean, how many mistakes am I going to find on this bike as I go through it? Absolutely dreadful. You won't be getting my business there anymore. Alrighty, so in absence of the actual, I think the cotter pins or something like that. So to make up for their incompetence, I'm going to use a paper clip as a temporary fix until I get a proper cotter clip for this pin that secures the foot peg on. That would have been fun if that had come out riding, wouldn't it? Jesus. Like I said before, nobody looks after your bike as much as you will, and the world is full of cowboys. Alright, well, that worked quite well. That worked quite well. Now to adjust the brake. Okay, so that wasn't too bad. You can see it's quite level. Maybe not level, but quite level. So all I did was loosen this, brought it up a bit, and then I was able to turn this top part here. Just pull back this rubber somewhat. I've got to try and reposition that now. And yeah, this just dropped. Now the only thing is, because that's dropped, this has probably pulled the brake light on, so I'm reckoning if I my keys are upstairs. Right, let's turn the old bike on. Yep, I reckon that's the brake light. So what we need to do, I believe, is loosen this off. We've got a bit of play, so we can loosen that off a bit, and the brake light should come off. Alrighty, Dunsky. So I adjusted this bolt closer to the top here to bring it down. Be careful, this is a plastic bolt and it's tricky to get at even with this off, so you've got to be real careful. But now the brake light will come on with just a bit of a press on here. So that's adjusted, and we're pretty much level. I'm happy with that. Alrighty viewers, here we go, all back together again. So we've got our guards on. I quite like these, they're quite smart looking. little bit of a hassle to fit the left hand side one on, but with a little bit of manual help from the old Darren the drill, whatever, they've come on good and they are nice and secure. Excellent. And we have our lowered foot pegs on with the brake adjusted and the brake light. Remember, be careful, that is a plastic nut and it is difficult to get to, but that's all good now. I have got a few marks on there from the pliers I used. I'm sure you can get a replacement, one thinks. So yeah, so that's all done. Now I haven't done the petcock. I do have the replacement, but I'm just a little nervous about drilling into this new tank, because there is no hole for the actual stem to go in. They got holes for the screws to fix the petcock in place, but not for the actual stem, which means you've got to drill. And I'm just a little apprehensive about doing that, because if I bugger this tank up, that's like $550. So I'm going to leave that for another time when I've got a bit more information or know-how on how to do that. So all that remains to be done is to go for a ride. Now I can't take you guys with me because I've got a new helmet. I've got a showy Hornet, showy Hornet, which I think Full Pelt Pete's got as well. Pete's has got a white one, I've got a black one. So yeah, I can't take you with me because I've got a new helmet and I haven't fixed the GoPro on yet. It's always tricky, but anyway, so we'll have a quick blast and I'll come back to you. Alrighty viewer, that was a nice little tootle around town, just around Brisbane and Brisbane CBD. Everything seemed to go very well. The lower pegs, great, much comfier, especially on the knees now, particularly good for my right knee that was savaged in the accident. The pegs, no, the peg holders rather, no longer have the rubber inserts in them, and vibration, no different whatsoever. The only difference is they feel more planted. Obviously they got no flex in them now, so yeah, they feel a lot better. So yeah, pleased with that. Brake position is great. Adjusted the gear shift lever, there you go, that was great. Yeah, it's just good to be back. What am I going to do? I'm going to have a cup of tea, of course, and sit and look at my lovely DR. Alright, that's all for now. Biker Bytes over and out.